Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Dearborn Public School meeting of October 13th, 2014 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Guido.
Here.
Trustee Lane.
Here.
Trustee McDonald.
Here.
Trustee Shell is here. Trustee Schoolmaster.
Here.
And President Barry.
Here. Next item, please.
Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Adnan Mughni, Wood Principal of Henry Ford Elementary, will introduce students who will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And they're going to do two pledges tonight. They're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but they're also going to do their bullying pledge. So I want you to be prepared for that as we...
Good evening, President Barry, trustees, Superintendent Whiston. I have Ms. Shajra here. She will introduce the kids.
Thank you very much. We have 5th grader Tatiana Blurton. We have 5th grader Hattie Askar, 4th grader Fatima Ahmed, and we have a 4th grader, unfortunately, that was sick and not able to make it today, Sulan Abdul Fattah. Thank you.
Welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Hope they're not done.
Against bullying, I will speak up when I see bullying, reach out to others who are bullied, and be a friend whenever I see bullying.
Hey. We're going to have some certificates sent to the school for you kids. But come on up and shake the president's hand, please.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Somebody in training behind
Thank you for
it.
coming. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. I told you, just don't say I.
Thank you.
Great job.
That was awesome.
Follow that one up. Next item.
Yeah, no kidding. Superintendent's update, agenda and non-agenda items.
We certainly want to thank the students and parents for being here, but we want to let them know they don't have to stay either for the meeting unless they want to. They're welcome to stay, but they don't have to stay for the meeting. So agenda items, we do have a Judith Utes who's retiring with 27 3/4 years from Smith, so almost 28 years. So we certainly wish her congratulations. Non-agenda items, want to remind everybody coming up on November 4th, we have our Hold Harmless millage renewal. It's a millage of 18 mills and 6.17 mills. It's all one question on the ballot. It's probably the very last thing on the ballot, at least it was on mine. And we're asking people to vote yes and remind people this is not a tax increase. This is a tax renewal that is part of Proposal A. Every 10 years, we have to go to the voters and ask them to renew the millage. So again, it's a renewal. It's not a tax increase. It represents about $39 million out of our $179 million budget, or about 22% of our budget. So we certainly would ask the voters to renew that millage on November 4th. Also would like to welcome Shannon Peterson to our first board meeting. Shannon is our new Executive Director for Secondary. And then an issue has come up that comes up every couple of years, and that's transportation issue from Crowley Park. You know, the district has not provided transportation from that area because of, if we did that, that opens the door for a lot of other areas we'd also have to transport. As you'll see in a minute, we spend about $6.9 million totally on our budget for transportation, and every time we add a bus run, you know, you're talking about same cost as a teacher. So it's an important topic. I remember even a couple of years ago we tried to get the SMART system to provide busing from that area to the schools, and we couldn't get SMART to do that. So as parents contact us, we'll be happy to meet with them and share with them our thoughts, and we certainly will learn their thoughts from them. But it's just not something from a safety perspective that we have done. So, get you updated on that.
I think that's been an issue for the 14 years that I've been on the board, and rightfully so. It is a long distance. We did used to have SMART busing, but there were many issues with the SMART buses as well. So
timeliness. All right. That's it.
That's it. Next item, please.
Citizens' participation, citizens wishing to address the board on an agenda and non-agenda item for action who are signed in by 7:10 by submitting a blue card to the secretary may speak at this time. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items, therefore speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. The board president reserves the right to limit times. We have a blue card from Jeff Powell, who would like to speak to the board about lack of buses for Crowley Park neighborhood to Etzel Ford.
Jeff here. Jeff?
Yep, right there.
How are you?
Good for you.
Good. Yeah, that was my question. Was how come they don't have buses from Crowley Park to Etzel, but they have buses from the south end and maybe from the east end? And I even heard, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but they bus some parents from the south and east end to the parent-teacher conferences and back. Is that true or no?
Certainly from Salina, I have offered buses to parent events at Etzel Ford, yes. I have done that. And Jeff's here that can maybe answer the question, but for busing, generally it's 1.5 miles or more before we have done busing.
But that's
and so
3
that's
miles.
why. Yeah.
1.5 miles from
Yeah, it's 3 miles from Crowley Park. to
2.8
Etzel
miles
Ford.
from my house to Etzel Ford. I mean, we're fortunate. The community's good over there, and there's a lot of people that carpool, but there are kids that walk to and from. There's some kids this morning that were walking in the rain. We picked one of them up. I think it's a pretty important topic, especially if they're busing. If we're able to afford buses for parents to and from teacher conferences, then how come we can't afford to bus kids to and from school?
Well, the cost.
Especially in
Trustee
the wintertime.
Schellis?
The winter's coming up. That's a long walk in the winter.
I mean, like I said earlier, I know this has been an ongoing issue, but I think that, you know, it's something that's worth revisiting. It is a long distance, and it's the longest distance, I think, that we require students to walk. It's dangerous. They don't have proper safety patrols on both sides of Telegraph. You've got one person, I mean, even for, you know, O.L. Smith, you got one person running back and forth from 2 different sides of Telegraph trying to cross kids, and it's dark at 6 o'clock in the morning. I recognize that there is a cost factor involved, but maybe we can at least revisit some of the options or try to brainstorm and come up with some solutions, maybe put together some parent committees with our administration and transportation department to see if there's some solution that we could do, even if it's one bus that stops at one place within the neighborhood, you know, on its way to Etzel. I mean, I'm sure that you're not asking to be picked up at every house, but there has to be a solution to this problem.
I think one bus from that area would be suffice. I know a lot of kids don't come back at the same time due to after-school activities, kids get off at different times, but one bus to school, one bus from school back to the neighborhood. I mean, kids don't mind walking to and from the neighborhood. But to address your comment about the safety guard or whatever, the crossing guard, there isn't one in the morning. So
There isn't one for the high school?
There's one for O.L. Smith.
For middle school?
But to get to the high school, the
Okay.
kids have to leave at 6:15.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I thought
there
that
is
the
nobody
crossing
at
guard
any
was there for
crossing
all of
at
them.
Telegraph. I mean, they're older kids.
Just so that you know, we don't control the crossing guards.
Right.
That's a city of Dearborn issue. It's paid for from the police department.
Okay.
So we don't have any control. We can complain that there's, like, for example, that there's only one. We can complain that there's
Right.
only one, but we don't have the power to do anything about it other than,
Right.
you know, voice our opinion.
I think it's more important for the O.L. Smith kids because you get
Right,
some
but
10-year-olds crossing Telegraph. Not very smart, but at least you have 13, 14-year-olds at the youngest crossing Telegraph. But granted, there's not a whole lot of kids
Yeah.
that walk, but I probably see 20, maybe 25 walking to and from there. But
Well, I'll be happy to meet with Mr. Powell and some parents and see if
That's
there's
what I was
any
going to say.
options.
Mr. Powell, thank you for reaching out to us.
Thank you
I
very
saw the discussion on Facebook.
okay, yeah.
And some of the friends there did reach out to me, and I really didn't answer because I didn't know what the policy was. But first thing this morning, I did ask Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Whiston, the superintendent, and I said, this is something we probably need to revisit. I agree with Trustee Schellis. So I think this is to be continued.
Yep.
We'll take it from.
What's the process ongoing?
I'll contact you.
Okay, appreciate it.
You left your contact information on the
Yes.
card?
I did.
1 second. Trustee Lane?
Oh, I was just going to say, though, I don't think it's comparable with the situation to Salina. I mean, I'm not weighing in one way or another on the Crowley Park issue because I know it's a long walk and I know that students come and it's winter, it's dark, yeah. But Salina, I know I've clocked it down there, and that's like 7.8 miles. So, and I've seen kids walk it. I have given kids a ride also. So that's really inordinate, I think. So.
Well, I
And
think
the
the
parent
problem,
meetings are
but the
only-
problem
Yeah.
is our policy. Because our policy states one thing and our practice states another thing. And so,
What is
you
the
know,
policy?
the policy is a
Over
mile and a half.
1.5.
A mile and a half.
Well, not high school. I mean, high school, we generally don't
I think it was
transport.
2, oh, I thought that it was like 2 miles or something.
I got conflicting. Some people said 2.5, some said 1.5.
Well, and
Someone
there's a
saying that
difference, is
the Crowley
it
Park
how
neighborhood
the
is
bird
2.5.
flies, or is it, you
Did
know,
did you
how
want to
you
address
walk,
that,
or-
Mr. Burr?
Yeah, we don't provide high school busing,
Well,
except for,
we do.
except for safety reasons, and that was done by the safety committee years ago. We provide safety busing from Salina, and I believe from
Ford
off-
Road.
No, Warren. They cross Hines Drive, and those two areas.
What's the
We'll
safety
take a
concern
look
from
at it.
Salina? What's the difference in the?
Because
safety
there
concern
isn't
from
a
Salina to
sidewalk,
Crowley?
there's not a sidewalk the
There's no
entire way.
sidewalks.
Okay.
But we don't want to debate it now.
Right.
We're certainly going to meet with you and
But
take a look
that's,
at it.
Okay. Anybody
our
else have any
policy.
comments? I thought I saw something here. No? Okay, Jeff, thank you very much, and
Thank you
this
for
is
your
to be
time. Have a good
continued.
night. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other blue cards?
Nope.
Okay, next item, please.
Approval of minutes. Approval of the minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meeting. Regular P12 meeting, September 8th, 2014. Board Report 14-33. Special meeting closed personnel, September 8th, 2014. Board Report 14-34. Recommended action, make any necessary corrections, and approve and move approval of the minutes, these minutes.
Thank you.
So moved.
We have a motion, support. Are there any corrections, changes, comments? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next item, please.
I think this one board meeting a month is, I'm losing my edge. My tongue's getting tied.
Are you motioning to go back to 2?
No.
What did you say, Mary?
Yeah, I wanted to be sure
She
I heard that right.
Recognition and acknowledgements, commendations.
David, do we have commendations? Yes, we do. Who's reading them?
Oh, did I miss something?
No.
I believe we were going to do a special commendation
Oh,
first.
did we have a commendation from the high schools?
From the
The question
schools.
is, from the schools? Like we
high
usually?
school
Yes,
student?
yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes. We have a student, Max Regula
Let's do that
from
first.
Etzel Ford High School,
Thank you.
is here to read our commendations for this
We don't
evening.
want to
That's
keep the
what we
student
want,
here.
yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, that was my fault. I thought
No, we're good. We're good, thank you.
Sorry.
Max Regula. I'll read the commendations. So for Etzel Ford High School, the commendations go to a teacher named Rebecca Haddis, who in September performed the Heimlich maneuver and saved a student's life. For Dearborn High School, commendations go to Dearborn High seniors Zachary Mused and Wesley Pedersen on being named the National Merit Semifinalists. The annual National Scholarship Competition recognizes top students across the country based on PSAT scores. The exam given to 1.4 million students nationwide every year is given to. The 16,000 National Merit Semifinalists represent a fraction of the top 1% of student scores. The National Merit Scholarship will award $33 million next spring to both Dearborn High School students and have a chance to be a part of those awards. Commendations for the 408 Dearborn High student athletes who participated in 18 different sports teams this fall sports and earned an average 3.35 grade point average. Congratulations to the Dearborn High girls golf team on winning the WWAC DLC League Golf Tournament Championship. The team shot a record 320 for 18 holes at Lake Erie Metro Park. The team includes Aliyah Bowser, Maddie Renko, Grace Fasili, Molly Mori, and Molly Mori. Pioneers placed first, second, and third. Special thanks to golf coaches Howard Inch and Kevin Barkoff. For Fordson High School, commendations to Fordson High School Glow Club for their generous donation of over 200 children's books to the Cotter Preschool. The club was successful in writing a grant and receiving funds for this book's for for the books from First Book, a nonprofit organization that connects book publishers and community organizations to provide access to new books for children in need. For Snow Elementary, commendations to the students of Snow Elementary School who raised over $200 for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Students donated $1 for the opportunity to wear hats for a day, and the proceeds were donated to ALS. Snow received the Ice Bucket Challenge from Duval Elementary School, and in return, Snow challenged Stout, who then challenged Etzel Ford. For Miller Elementary School, the commendations to Miller Elementary teachers Samantha Lamtree and Jennifer Burek for their successful efforts to secure an $850 grant from the Google Detroit district, partnered with DonorsChoose.org. The schools will use the funds to take books for fourth grade students and a small group set of wobble stools to help students with ADHD. For River Oaks Elementary, commendations to Mrs. Rollins and all the fourth graders in her class, who over the past 15 years, Miss Rollins has had her class collect pop tabs for the Ronald McDonald House. Oakman Elementary. For Oakman Elementary, the commendations go to Miss Nadia Dockrub, parent liaison at Oakman Elementary, for her dedication to the staff, students, parents, and visitors at Oakman. Her colleagues at Oakman, including kindergarten teacher Leanne Sulicki, have commended Miss Dockrub for her efforts, saying she goes above and beyond the staff, students, parents, and visitors of Oakman Elementary School. She puts in long hours and never stops until the task is done, and done well. She is one of many unsung heroes that makes every day brighter at Oakman. For the district, commendations to the Great Start Readiness Program, which, due to the early childhood education program's past successes, received additional funding from the state of Michigan to add more than 200 preschoolers this fall. Thank you to the preschool staff who went above and beyond to open 8 new classrooms this fall. The staff exhibited exemplary teamwork and assumed many additional responsibilities to achieve this goal. Commendations to the departments, including the superintendent's office, business services, food services, human resources, purchasing, compensatory education, and school improvement, and district operations, that worked diligently to make the opening of GSRP classrooms a priority. It was a unified effort to benefit the children and families of the Dearborn Public Schools. For Bryant Middle School, the commendations go to Bryant students Jacob Myrna, Cole Niewiadomski, Jacob Zamolski, and Jacob Smolski for their act of honesty and citizenship. The 3 young men recently found a cell phone and took steps to locate the owner and return it to her. The family was very grateful. Commendations to the Smith are to the Smith art teacher, Miss Rutten, for successfully securing an over an $800 grant in funding to take a special art project with her students. In addition, Mrs. Rutten was invited to be a docent on the Dearborn Community Fund's September bus tour of Dearborn's outdoor art gallery. She shared information about 12 replicas of famous paintings that are on display across the city of Detroit. The tour group also visited City Hall and the Western Dearborn Pocket Park to see the sculptures designed by Dearborn Public School students on the 2010 Pockets of Perception design team. For Henley Ford Early College, commendations go to Michaela Heffernan, the first student from Henry Ford Early College to graduate from Henry Ford College's biotechnology program. Michaela graduated in August with an associate's degree in applied science and biotechnology. She entered Michigan State University with 60 credits, where she's majoring in political science and pre-law. For DCMST, congratulations to DCMST student Maryam Mohammed, who had the honor of participating in a panel discussion at the Intelligent Transportation Systems (ITS) World Congress at Cobo Hall in October. The panel of impressive participants, including Governor Schneider's chief advisor for automotive technology, discussed the topic education and training needs for ITS technology. Marin presented her perspective as a high school junior interested in pursuing the career in automotive engineering. She spoke passionately about her interest in the field, noting that she values attending DCMST where she can participate in hands-on activities that help move towards her degree. The DCMST is proud of Miriam and the accomplishments of her and her classmates. For the Academic Center of Excellence, commendations to the staff of the new Academic Center of Excellence, known as ACE. The staff of this new school is committed to working with at-risk youth to provide the academic community-based support they need to prevent educational disconnection in the middle school years and stay on to track with their education. The staff is building connections with the University of Michigan Ann Arbor and Dearborn to engage mentors who will play a pivotal role for the students as they participate, learn, and grow to successfully navigate transitions in the middle school years. ACE staff and administration are an extraordinary asset in creating the new program and are to be commended for their efforts in helping our students build social and academic skills as a platform for educational successes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good job.
You volunteered at a very busy time in our district.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
And we also have a special award tonight. Superintendent Mr. Whiston and I have been talking about what a very generous community we have in the Dearborn area. And we have a lot of individuals that give of their, what I call their 3 T's, time, talent, and treasure. We recognized, Mr. Whiston and I recognized our first 2 awardees for this month and the next meeting, but for the December meeting, we'll be forming a committee and we'll be looking for names. To be eligible for this award, you can't be a district employee, you can't be doing business with the district. There's some good things to come from this. Our first award is going to be going to Mr. Ali Joed. Ali Joed is the co-owner and CEO of Armada Oil and Gas Company. Mr. Joed is a leader and icon within our community. He founded the Lebanese American Heritage Club in 1982 in Dearborn, Michigan. The group began as a way to stay active, involved, and informed. Ali Joed quickly saw greater potential for the LAHC. He saw a need for proper guidance of the youth. They start offering a network of experienced adults who provide mentoring and tutoring programs geared to empower the youth by providing them with leadership skills, diversity education, and college access education, resume building, as well as empowering them to make a difference in their communities. As a leading advocate of higher education, Ali Joed and his club began a scholarship foundation. To date, the foundation has provided over $1.5 million in scholarships, and I know because most of us, we attend those scholarship dinners. Most of those students are, probably over 90% of them are Dearborn Public School graduates. And recently, the last few years, you're eligible for that scholarship as long as you attend a high school in Michigan. It doesn't have to be just Dearborn or Dearborn Heights, and it's open to all students. I know Mr. Joed also donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Performing Arts Center Fund, and for a long time he donated a great amount of money that was used towards the fireworks at the Dearborn's homecoming. So on behalf of the Dearborn Board of Education, Superintendent Mr. Whiston, I thank Mr. Joed for playing a very important role in our community and congratulate him. When I called him to tell him about this, he was out of town and he promised me he was going to come in Saturday night and be here with us tonight. He called me earlier and he told me he wasn't feeling good. So my comment to him, if you're traveling and not feeling good, please stay home. So we have Mr. Wasim Mahfouz, Executive Officer of LAHC, to accept the award on behalf of Mr. Joed. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
It gives me a great honor and privilege to stand before you today and accept this award on behalf of Mr. Joed. Unfortunately, as President Berry mentioned, he couldn't join us today because he's under the weather, which is my sign that he's getting old, considering it's 70 degrees outside today.
It was 63.
I had the honor to work with Ali very closely for the past 12 years. and I know him as a father, as a successful businessman, and as a philanthropist, a person who immigrated to the United States over 30 years ago to pursue the American dream. And through the LAHC and Ali's leadership, we have been successful in serving the community through various educational programs ranging from scholarship opportunities, healthy living program that serve, I believe, as we speak, 3 to 4 schools in the Dearborn Public Schools, youth leadership and diversity education, to name a few. So without any further ado, on behalf of Mr. Jawad, I would like to thank you very much for this honor, and it's great to be recognized by all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Schellis.
I think it's quite fitting that Wasim is here to accept this award on behalf of Ali and the LAHC, since he's been the face of the scholarship dinner for as many years as I can remember. I guess I feel the need to say something about Ali, and I think that one of the things that I find most admirable from him is that he is a silent philanthropist. He is not one to stand in the spotlight and take credit for things that he's done. And that's rare these days. You know, he's somebody who continuously gives to the community behind the scenes and doesn't expect anything in return. And so I think it's quite fitting and appropriate that he receive this award.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thanks.
again. Thank you. Next item?
Any other?
Nope.
Okay.
Special reports, response to bullying kickoff event. Mr. Brian
It's really not a
Weston.
report, it's just more of a reminder to remind people that on October 22nd from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center, we're going to have the Family Fun Night, where we're going to continue on with our response to bullying process. And this is the kickoff every year, and to remind people that we provide professional development to all of our employees on response to bullying. We track the behavior and come up with plans to address the behavior. And while we can never eliminate bullying altogether, as the student surveys and staff surveys we have shared with the board shows that students are feeling safer and more secure in the schools at a very high level. And so this is just to remind people to attend the Response to Bullying kickoff event on October 22nd from 6 to 7 at the Performing Arts Center.
Next report?
Transportation.
Another quickie, I just want to remind, this is an item we've told the board we want to continue to have conversations on. We spent a total of $6.9 million on transportation, and about $1.3 million of that we spend through privatization because we can't get enough drivers to in-house. I have met with the union officials over the past few weeks, shared with them some ideas we had to try to bring these jobs back in-house, and also have and the union is going to brainstorm some ideas and bring it back. So the conversation continues. It's not that we don't appreciate our partner who is doing a great job supporting us and helping us, but we do want to bring as many jobs in-house as we can, and always looking for people who would like to drive buses. So anybody that is looking for a job and like to try to drive buses, we provide the training, and we be happy to have you contact the HR department, and be certainly wanting to hire you.
Trustee Lane?
Yeah, I was wondering, I was going to bring this up under number 5 when we were going to vote on it. So if we can't get drivers, how are they getting drivers?
They're having just as many problems as we are getting drivers. So it's just, we're just lucky that they're able to pick up the routes.
Should we put advertisements in our buses that we're hiring?
I don't think we can advertise on buses, but we do.
I was being facetious.
But we do have job fairs that HR goes out and does.
Well, no, I just meant on the steering wheel. I didn't mean all over the bus. I just meant, like, you know, where the driver could see it.
And we work with Access and others to try to bring people in. So it's something our department is working.
Everyone is having a problem. So this is, I mean, we're. Then,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
talk to any
normally
school
that
district.
means that you're not paying enough money.
No, it's not enough hours.
It's not
Well,
enough.
it's the
That's
hours, and
is
it's
the
a
hours
split
that's the
shift.
problem.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
a
you
split
paid
shift.
enough, you would get people.
I mean, that is one of the issues, is they come in and work for a few hours, and some of them are off midday, and then they come back to work at the end of the day.
The split
It's
shift is a real headache. But I'd just like to caution us about that, because I know that I have passed some, or I've been passed by some of these buses on the expressway. I just noted one the other day, and I can tell you which one it was, but they were doing more than 70 on the expressway.
Our buses were on the expressway?
Not our buses.
Oh, I was going to say, why are our buses on the
No.
expressway?
Some of these
Just
contractors.
Sorry.
So
Contract
I
bus,
think
yeah.
we need to look at what their safety records are.
And we do
So-
that. They have to provide that to us.
We
But it's a
also
good
have
point.
the GPS monitoring that can tell us when they're going over the speed limit.
But for these that we
For our buses.
subcontract,
For our buses,
Yeah.
we can't for the
Oh, we're
subcontract.
subcontracting the buses
they-
as
number
well?
5 on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
They use
yes.
their buses, right?
I don't know if
But
you realize,
also-
but last year's contract was a couple $100,000 more, so we're going in the right direction. I mean, I know there was a couple job fairs where we were recruiting, so we're going the right direction there. Of course, we want our buses on the road, but
Just one last question,
Sure.
then also, I don't, Superintendent Weston, or maybe Mr. Burek can answer this. I don't know what their policy is on idling. I know we used to idle buses, and maybe we still are during the winter, but during a basketball game from the freshman team to the varsity, we'd have our bus idling outside for 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't think we do that
I don't
anymore,
think
except
we're
during the
doing-
winter.
I don't know if we're still doing it. Maybe we are just in the coldest times, but I know in California, it's illegal. So at some point, maybe we'll be a little more environmentally conscious, but I'd like to know what their policy is on it as well.
Some of our newer buses, we don't have to do that.
Uh-huh,
We're
good,
able to
great.
restart them. Our older buses, the older
Because of the
diesels,
diesel.
the diesels in the winter, we do have to run them.
Good, very good. So
So-
did these buses also have
We'll get you that
seat
answer.
belts?
Yes.
They do.
On the Trinity bus?
Trinity,
I can
DHT.
get you that answer. I don't.
Okay.
So seat belts, and what was the other question?
I'd like to
Idling.
know what their
Idling.
safety records are, and then
Safety
also
records.
whether, what their environmental policy is. Do they idle these buses for hours?
Sure, we'll get those answers.
Okay.
What does this do to our fleet as well? I mean, we just passed a bond to purchase
We-
more
we-
buses, and if we're
We
not
maintain
using
a
our
fleet of
buses.
100. No, we use all of our buses. We maintain a fleet of about 100 buses.
These routes are for routes we can't support. So.
But we can't support them because we're missing drivers.
Exactly.
But if we had the drivers, we'd be able to support them?
Yes.
We-
But then we shouldn't be
might have to
using,
need more
so then we
buses if
shouldn't
we
be
did that.
using all of our buses.
No, we'd have to add buses.
We would have to add some buses.
So our
Drivers and
fleet,
buses.
our fleet is less now than it was before?
We're running about 12 buses less than we did. We have
Okay.
about 89 to 90 buses. Right now, we had about 110. About 101, I'm sorry, 101.
Really?
Yes.
So are these running during the regular school day or these evening gigs?
Some of both. I mean,
Both.
it's special
Both.
ed runs.
These are
it's-
activity runs, runs that if our driver calls off, we don't have a substitute, and we'll use these buses.
In,
Plus normal runs.
Are any of them transporting other than Dearborn students to like Wayne Westland
No,
or
no.
any
Now,
out-of-district programs?
I don't know if any of these are, is Michael in the audience? If any of these are special ed, where they're center programs and they pick up other kids on their way, or not. I don't know the answer to that.
All of our students that are going to center programs outside our district are being contracted routes.
Yes.
So they could be fewer students, so they would be, it's more cost effective to do a cab or small van than it would be a bus, so. But again, we don't have enough drivers for all the.
I just caution the use of cabs with kids. It bothers me.
I mean, sometimes with the homeless, that's how we have to do it.
Yeah,
But there are-
I recognize that it just makes me uncomfortable.
Trustee McDonald.
How many more drivers would we need to satisfy our current?
Well, and how many buses would we need?
Right, approximately, our current needs.
Let's not throw out a number.
Yeah,
Let's,
I
we'll get
really
a,
don't.
Okay,
I would
can
have
you
to
give me
talk to
some
Steve Lynch,
information
our
on this?
transportation supervisor, and I can get that for you.
yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Guido?
I know that the bus drivers require special certifications,
Correct.
CDL, and I think it's something even beyond that. Do they have to apply with those credentials, or is there a program?
No, we'll get them through the training.
Okay,
We
that's what I-
train them.
So that isn't a roadblock to hiring?
No, we'll hire them, we'll train them,
Okay,
and we pay for the training.
Yes.
great, okay.
Do we make an effort to try to block their schedules together at all, or?
What do you mean to block them?
I mean, can we, if we,
can work to.
like during the day, do we give like the most senior drivers any runs during the day?
Yeah, it's, by seniority, they pick the routes. So it's like, I got the most seniority, so I get to pick my route. Second seniority picks their next route, third senior. So it's all, in fact, we're doing that right now is that time
The bids they're out for bid right now. But a lot of these are split shifts, like you mentioned. They come in for 3 or 4 hours or 2 hours. They go home, they come back around 2 o'clock, and they do the afternoon run.
What about full-time as opposed to part-time? How many do we have?
We'd have only like 8 to 10 full-time, if
I
that.
think
We'll get
we
you
have
the
7.
number.
I think we have 7 full-time people.
It's not many.
And that's because of the medical.
Cost of benefits.
Yes.
The cost of benefits.
Pam, you had a
cost of
question?
benefits are now over 30% or 28% or whatever.
Pam, did you have a question?
I did have a question, and it may have been discussed. The audio is not real clear, but I know other districts are having problems with bus drivers too, and many of them have gone to outsourcing it. I was just curious, but you just got done saying that we've only got 8 or 10 full-time people, the rest are part-time, and that may have a bearing. I was curious how our benefit and salary packages compare to the private companies.
We'll get you
Is that
that.
something that's holding us back from hiring people? I always thought our bus drivers were on the higher end as far as salary.
We can do a salary
part-time
survey.
and don't get benefits, then I guess it's a wash, huh?
Trustee Shellis?
Can we do, I was just talking to Trustee McDonald about this, but is there a way that we can employ them full-time by using other services? For example, a bus driver in the morning, a lunchroom aide in the middle of the day, and a bus driver in the afternoon? I mean,
you
kind of
can-
like a package deal? I mean, I know at some point we had a hard time staffing lunchroom aides for that same reason, that it was only 2 or 3 hours during the day.
We could do that, but again, if we provide if they're full-time employees, then we have to provide benefits. Then you're talking about 25% for retirement, you're talking
Right.
about 30% for healthcare. I mean, your costs from 7 million just went up to 11 million.
Well, there is the cost issue, but there's also, privatization is not always the
Oh, yeah,
answer.
we don't want to
know from
privatize,
the
yeah.
we know from the Aramark contract that we don't
But
want
this-
inferior services, and I'm saying that. I mean, maybe we have. I don't know, but I've seen some of the drivers, and it could be a safety issue as well.
And if we're
so-
hiring an outside service, it's about a half an inch away from privatization of part of our busing.
Right.
I mean, no
It
matter
is.
how you slice it.
Oh, absolutely, it is, absolutely. But it's not what we want. We want to
Right.
bring them back in-house.
$3,900.
And do they do the same kind of, do they?
They have to pass the
Do they
background
do
check, yes.
background checks and
Yes.
fingerprint?
Yes.
Do we know, do private companies, do they pay benefits? And if so, how many of their drivers are full-time? Do we know that?
Do we know?
What was the question?
I'm not
sorry.
sure. It
Do
was
we
about
know whether
Trinity's-
the private companies pay benefits?
Generally, no.
Right.
But we will do a salary survey that includes benefits. We'll look at the surrounding districts and the private companies, and we'll give you a report.
Okay, do they primarily try to keep people part-time also?
I don't know.
The Trinity drivers,
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I'm just
can't answer
curious
that.
if
I
that's
think
what's
they
holding
have
us
more
back from
full-time, but they
getting
can,
people.
when they're done with one of our bus runs, they may subcontract to somebody else, and they can keep their people busier all day long.
And the other aspect is they don't pay medical and they don't
Right.
pay retirement.
Right.
And we have to pay retirement at 28% and medical at $11,000 or $12,000 a year. And so, once again, you've indicated you double the amount of benefits that you pay.
Right, and that
But
may
these
be
are good
why
questions. We'll get into.
Yeah.
we're not getting people.
Perhaps we could
Okay.
have,
Just
you know, a
curious.
presentation
Just
on
curious
this
what we're competing against.
at a later date, maybe in February or whatever.
Yep.
Because I know that it will take you a little while to get it over.
We will do that.
Just one other comment. It also concerns me that of all the bids that were solicited, we had 6 that came back with no bids. We had 1 that didn't meet the qualifications. So really, the only choice we had
It's
was
Trinity.
Trinity.
They've been with us, and they're close to us, and some of it's
Yeah,
not
they're- yeah, it's
profitable
right down the
for them to do this. So,
Okay.
that's one of the reasons.
Right, look forward to getting the information, another report. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. District audit update. Can you tell us
Excuse
something?
me, this is my job.
Oh.
He's stepping
I
in for
thought,
the
I thought
president.
he made
You step into the captain's chair, and now you think you're going to take over my job, too?
Sorry, Amy, you're absolutely right. Is my face red?
I'll say it again.
District audit update. Mr.
All right.
Samuel Barna.
Yes.
Please call me Sam. Good evening. How's everyone? To give you a brief update on the 2013-14 audited financials, just a really quick update. Again, we have concluded the audit. However, the audit is currently being reviewed by our Plant and Moran auditor. And so this is technically still a draft, but wanted to share with you in the first column specifically the general fund for 2013-14 and how it ended as of June 30th, 2014. If you can pay, again, close attention to the first column, you'll see that the net change in fund balance for 2013-14 is a positive $2.1 million to budget. And that actually is, basically increasing our fund budget to almost just shy of $10 million. So there are several reasons why we're so favorable. Again, I would rather be favorable rather than unfavorable to what I originally budgeted. But there are several actually occurrences or expenses that didn't occur for 13-14 that I had anticipated originally. And one of those is a transfer based from our general fund to our bond fund. That didn't occur. That was almost $400,000 that took place the prior year, 12-13. That didn't happen in 13-14. Transfer to building and site that didn't have to basically occur. That was $180,000 savings. And then we had some contracted services savings in maintenance, as well as electrical and HVAC, and then a few other smaller dollar amounts as well. I will say that a large portion of this, approximately $300,000, was basically on behalf of the unit budgets of all of our principals across the district. They did a fantastic job in assisting me in cutting back their spending early in the year, and it really shows here with the positive outcome to 2013 and 14. And again, I want to publicly say thank you to all the principals out there at each of our buildings. So again, $2.1 million favorable for last year. I will add that there were two findings from our audit. One was a material weakness, which means that we did not have processes in place. However, we did correct that prior to year end, and it relates to our 2014 Capital Projects Fund, or our 2014 bond, our $76 million SMART bond. There were actually projects going on in the summer, obviously, that were not completed prior to June 30th, 2014. And our Plant and Moran auditors asked us to basically capitalize those, or at least receive invoices dated as of June 30th, 2014, so that we could put them on the books. We did not do that, and so we were actually given a material weakness. But really what all that does is it just basically it's an accounting for these funds. We still have the funds are still being expensed. We just didn't receive the invoices prior to June 30th in order to do that. So going forward, we will change the process and ask all of our vendors for next year to invoice us as of June 30th, 2015 to ensure this doesn't occur again. In addition, there was a small weakness in terms of our processes in compensatory education, where we had a parapro who was an individual working at the beginning of last year, and they actually had a payroll certification filed. That individual actually ended up leaving, and a new person came in their place who did not have a payment certification on file. So we were actually marked for not having that in place. So going forward, we will ensure that the process is indeed checked, and our compensatory education secretary will ensure that that doesn't happen again. So those were the two outcomes of our audit. And again, we just want to briefly say, please vote on August 4th. I'm not August 4th, sorry, November 4th. We really could use the $40 million. As you see, our budget here is $179 million, and that represents a large portion of our operating funds for the district. Thank you. Any questions?
Jealous?
We did have a a finance committee meeting prior to this, so I appreciate you giving the report so that I don't have to. But I just wanted to say publicly that while we did have 2 audit issues that came up, in the big scheme of things, they're very minor. They're more bookkeeping issues of, when do you book something, when you're actually invoiced for it, or, when the work is in process or at the end of the year. So it's a learning process. We haven't had a bond project since, the early 2000s. And so this is the first bond project that Sam is going through and Brian is going through. And to me, that's a very, very minor hiccup compared to, what could have happened. So I appreciate your diligence in taking care of these, and I'm sure that we won't see these again. And then I just wanted to make a comment on the fund balance. While $9 million might sound like a lot of money, it really is incredibly low. That won't even get us through a cash flow crunch. If the state decides that they're going to delay paying us for 1 month, that's not even enough to get us through payroll. And I think that we've worked really hard, and by we, I mean the superintendent and the staff and the teachers and all the support staff have worked really hard to ensure that we're financially solvent at all times. And we need to make sure that we are again in a position where we don't need to borrow for cash flow purposes. And the only way we can do that is to build up our fund balance. And I mean, at one point it was $20 million, I think. And it hasn't been that high since I first got on the board. So I think that, we as a board have set a goal for the superintendent to increase that. And I'm happy that it's moving in a positive direction, because for many years it was going in the opposite direction. I know that's been a sore point for Trustee Guido, seeing that fund balance go down.
We actually even, I think, built a school, or an addition to a school, I don't remember which one, cash out of that fund
was
balance
stout
as well, so it was even much higher than that at one time.
Well, and we used to allocate. I mean, when
money's from the grant lawsuit.
We had $8.5 million, I think, we got from that, but still, it was an impressive number.
Yeah.
From zero when I started, we were borrowing to get through the summer when I first came on the board.
I know I'm going to date myself, but when I first got on the board, we used to put $4 million aside every year just for building in sight to keep our buildings up, and we put a fraction of that. I mean, if we have
$500,000, yes.
Yeah, $500,000 compared to $4 or $5 million that we used to put every year, and it catches up with you. And
with aging buildings,
we've been very lucky, but all it takes is one minor building disaster, and that fund balance could be gone in a heartbeat.
Everybody needs to understand how little $500,000 goes when just walk through our district, look at our schools, and see what we have to maintain. And you'll know that $500,000 is nothing.
Well, if you think about your yearly income compared to as a percentage of what you spend on home maintenance,
right,
it gives you an idea. We have a $179 million budget. That's a very, very $500,000 is a very, very small number compared to our budget.
Almost meaningless.
Yeah.
In the scheme of things.
Trustee Lane?
Well, Trustee Schultz stole a lot of what I was going to say, but I'm still going to say it anyways, just because
I'm sorry.
There are a lot of people here, and we need to say this.
She learned that from Jim.
No, yeah, exactly. I know we've all been through a long period of austerity, and we've all made a lot of sacrifices. The economy has readjusted itself, so everyone is been through a lot, but we need to bring our fund balance back above, I think it's 10 million is our magic number.
No, that's our minimum number.
I mean to make one payroll during the summer, I think it's roughly 10 million.
That's roughly the case. That's true.
Yeah, so we really need to have that, because the borrowing to make payroll because of the state's payment schedule is something that we all want to avoid, and everybody hates spending $300,000-$400,000 to pay interest. So we need to have that above 10 million, and then we'll all be we'll all be a lot happier.
Yeah. Well, I once again don't want to deny any kid an education for dollars. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to have to spend our last dollar if we're going to educate a kid The state of Michigan has taken $40 million and given us 1,000 more students. And, you know, I keep reiterating that. And unfortunately, the cash crunch is going to come somewhere. Sam has done a wonderful job. Brian has done a wonderful job. You know, I thank Christine and the teachers for what they've done. But, you know, we've got kids that we've got to educate.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to see programs diminished or education diminished in any way, shape, form, or manner.
Agreed. That is why we're here.
I don't want it to save money on the backs of kids.
No.
Well,
Good point.
fortunately, we have a lot of people that we're adding and a lot of teachers that we're adding on tonight's
that's
agenda,
true.
so that's
Mhm.
good news.
That's a good thing, that's right. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
that.
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, Pam, sorry.
Sam, as far as the reporting date, the date you have to report the audit to the state, are we on schedule for that? I know we have to wait for the college portion, and I assume they're working on theirs too. Is it your expectation we'll meet the deadline without any penalties or anything?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Actually, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Actually, I believe this is going to be ready and in a non-draft format and ready for me to post on our website for our residents to see as soon as next week, possibly the week after at the latest. And so it is our full intent also to have the auditors come in on November the 10th at our next board meeting and make a formal presentation of this particular audit. But again, I look to have this out there on the website for all to see in the next week and a half at the minimum.
The college
Okay,
audit committee
just want to
met
make sure we
tonight,
would
too.
be on time.
That's ready.
Yeah. It's due.
Thank you.
Is it due November 30th? And there's legislation pending.
There is.
To make it October 15th.
You're absolutely right. Actually,
Okay.
it might be October 1st, actually, as opposed to October 15th. It's in the October timeframe. So that hasn't passed yet, but that is definitely out there.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Very great, thank you. Next item, please.
District literacy, Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Jill Choko, Ms. Shannon Peterson.
I think we're going to put Shannon on the hot seat tonight, our first presentation.
She can handle it.
Good evening.
No pressure,
President
but
Barry.
everybody's watching you.
I know, right? We're gonna do our best.
About
here.
30 people.
Be amazed at how
Plus
many
our
people
television
watch this.
audience.
Exactly. Just a brief secondary literacy update. You know, obviously our coordinators are still working with the implementation of Daily 5 and Cafe in the 6th grade, and they're still working with the teachers in reading apprenticeship 7th through 12th. But this year our literacy coordinators have added argumentative writing to their focus. So they have spent some time with the language arts teachers in working on developing a level of skill progression and a common rubric to assess writing. In October and December, they will bring social studies teachers together from all 3 high schools and all the middle schools to work on presenting argumentative writing lessons and in an authentic way in the classroom. Obviously, the Common Core literacy standards for social studies, students have to use textual evidence, primary sources, secondary sources. So they're going to work with the teachers in incorporating that in their classroom in social studies. And the expectation is our coordinators will then go into those teachers' classrooms and support them through coaching and modeling. Etzel Ford, it has a guest coming on November 4th, which is a professional development day, Jeff Wilhelm, who is an author, and his focus is also going to be on argumentative writing across all grade levels and disciplines. All the Etzel Ford staff will be participating in that, as well as I know that Laurie Middle School is also sending their staff, and I do know that the Bryant Social Studies teachers and language arts teachers are going. I'm unsure what other secondary schools are going to send representatives there, but that'll be another way to continue the focus on argumentative writing. Questions?
Great. Thank you very much.
Good
Good
job.
Next item, please.
Action item, special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below.
Trustee Lane.
I don't need it excluded from the motion, but I do have some questions about number 2, the e-readers.
You don't want to pull it?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
So move that action items numbered 1 through 18 be approved as recommended in this agenda, including the supplement that was at our desk.
So
Going
moved.
once.
Motion.
Support.
Support.
Why are you looking at me?
Go
I
back-
can't.
Go back to number 2. They're telling you, kick Jim.
Joe had to, kind of wake me up a little bit.
Question.
Trustee Lane, number 2.
Yeah, this is an e-book subscription, and I understand it was done during the summer, and
Yep.
it was successful during the summer. I think we heard that there were something like 8,900 books that were checked out, and that's fantastic. I really like that. I was just wondering, so this is this vote was for 62,000 for the books, but who's providing the e-readers?
That's the e-reader.
Oh, that is the e-reader and the books.
The books are in the e-reader.
In the reader, okay, all right, that's what I wanted to clarify. And then, what are the arrangements as far as breakage or insurance for them? Have we had any issues? I don't think we did during the summer, but
Dr. Chogel? But you're right, we're very excited about this program because we can track how many books kids read, do they read it, and then we can test, knowledge on what they've read, and it's just a very exciting opportunity to get kids reading.
Good evening. There actually are not additional purchases of e-readers per se, but it's the purchase of the service, which is the access to all of those titles, so that students would use any of the e-readers or desktop computers or
their own.
things that they have at home in order to access this anytime, any place, so that schools are not only training teachers how to utilize and access the titles, but certainly parents, so that, that if there are devices at home, that children can access the reading.
okay, I guess
So
I
it's a
was.
bring your own device
And that's what I was
situation.
trying to get to, is
Yeah.
are we,
So it's really just
are
the
we
service
providing
as the
an
whole.
e-tab, we're not
Nothing
providing
above and beyond
tablets
what
or-
we're
okay,
doing,
okay.
or what some schools may already have allocated in their budgets to purchase for the school, not specifically for this purpose,
Okay.
but just technology possibly for use for the whole school. And certainly students would be able to access the titles for the e-reader through those devices, but not specifically for that.
Thank you.
Not on this, another topic.
I had a question regarding number 8, the change order, contract change order. How does that affect the original bidding process?
So, first of all, I want to mention that even with the change orders, we're still at or under budget on every item, so that's good. Change orders occur generally, most of these change orders have to do with the new Dearborn Heights campus. And what was happening is we walked through the program and, think about your home. You redo the kitchen and then you notice that makes something else stand out that you need to do. And so as we did the walkthrough through the Heights campus, we found those kinds of items, the canopies, carpeting, some things in the rooms that needed to be taken care of. So it's not, these change orders are a little high because of not something we'd hoped to see in the future this high, but mainly because we had a very short window at the Heights campus from end of June to end of August. And so, Jeff, that's my comments. Did you want to add anything, or did I get anything incorrect?
I mean, what caught my attention is with the percentage-wise, the big chunk compared to the total amount. And is this something, is it because of time? We don't go back out and rebid it? So I figure it's because of time. Sure, okay.
And about 75% or 80% of this has to do with the Heights campus.
You may see a couple of some undercutting things where we pay. Sometimes we have a certain price. Something has to be undercut. We may have a little cost overrun, and that would be a change order to that.
Okay.
So something like that.
Did I see
There was
Dr.
also a
Jensen
large
trying to speak
change
now?
order, I thought I noticed, for the technology portion. Was that unanticipated
Technology, I can't
changes
answer
or
that
what?
question.
Troy is here. Troy?
Because, yeah, part of that was, most of it was probably the technology.
The change order on the technology was an adjustment for our UTM, our Unified Threat Management. And what we found is going through the budgeting process, we're looking for choke points for getting all the information through the network. And we were, as we looked through and evaluated we moved up a model on our UTM to provide a better experience for all the users. We're using a lot of data, and we're predicting we're going to use a lot more and more as we go forward. So we want to make sure that we get the right thing in place.
So when we originally went out to bid, we had this level, and then going through the process, we decided to up it a level, and that's the additional expense in the technology area.
Correct.
But do we feel like we're going to be in a good spot where this will last us for a while then?
Absolutely, and that's why we made that move up one level, is to make sure that we were not just good for this year, but next year and 5 years down the road as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's just going to serve us for the next several years.
Then we know what
And
we're
if
going
so,
to need.
then good. I'm glad. Okay. I just jumped out at me. It was a large amount of money.
When it
Thank
comes to
you, Troy.
technology, didn't we know what we're going to need in advance before we bid it out?
We did. We're balancing. We're being as good financial stewards, so we're making sure we're staying within the budget, and we're also projecting into the future. And projecting into the future with technology is very difficult. We can go as baseline as we want. The problem is going to be is if we get in the future, we're going to be revisiting this and spending the money then.
But because of holding costs down in other areas, you're going to be able to up this to another level and stay within your budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much. You had something to add?
That's good.
Number 12, I think Andy Dennison is here, the new principal that you appointed for Brian. I did see Andy. Where is he?
Well, we
Andy.
we haven't quite voted on
Oh, you
it
haven't
yet.
voted yet? I thought you voted. No, I thought you voted. Andy, I didn't mention you.
Okay, all right, we have a
gotta make
motion.
them sweat for
Maybe
a little bit.
he'd like to leave, go into the hall for a while.
Just a minute, Andy. We'll come back to you.
All right, we do have a motion
I
on the
thought you
table.
voted already.
In support, are there any objections? Okay, motion carries. Now, Mr. Liston.
Oh, and now I'd like to introduce the new principal of Brian, Andy Dennison. Andy, if you could come up to the microphone for a second and just say hi to us. But we want to congratulate Andy, who has served us well for a number of years at Henry Ford, Oakman, and, William Ford.
William Ford, Oakman,
Yeah,
Howard.
those two Fords always get me. I'm sorry, they do. William Ford, Oakman, Howard, and other schools probably, but certainly the last 9 years or so at Howard.
Correct.
And now he's taking over at Bryant. So we want to congratulate him.
Congratulations.
That's it. Want to say
Anything to say?
I'm looking forward to the next step of my career in Dearborn Public Schools at Bryant School as their principal. So thank you for the opportunity.
Brian's going to be in good hands, continue to be in good hands. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. President, I did notice I made one other goof. I didn't read to you the donations before we voted on them.
I just asked Jim that. I said,
We
"I
normally
missed
do
that."
that, so if I could read them
Okay,
very quickly.
you know what, this is it, I'm done, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my second mistake of the meeting. Three, you gotta give me three
See
before
what
you
happens?
leave.
You try to crunch everything?
I know.
Go ahead.
All right, so we had a donation of school supplies that have been offered to Henry Ford Elementary School by Ford Motor Company, Material Engineering Department, to be used in the classrooms. A donation of 20 $50 gift cards has been offered to Henry Ford Elementary School by Walmart Dearborn and used for teacher appreciation. A donation of a Carl Joseph Schneider cello with a hard shell case has been offered to Bryant Middle School by Mr. Chen to be used by the music department. A donation of 100 backpacks filled with school supplies has been offered to Salina Elementary School by Jack Demmer Ford to be used for newcomers to the school. A donation of a recess cart gear, including balls, jump, ropes, and games, teacher stipends for after-school activity club and professional development for the Building Healthy Community Grant team members and coordinator, valued at $15,000, has been offered to Salina Elementary by Blue Cross Blue Shield through Wayne State University to promote healthy living lessons to students. A donation of $500 has been offered to O.L. Smith Middle School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for the Ecosystem Project. A donation of $3,000 has been offered to Maples Elementary School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for a speaker system in the multi-purpose room and cafeteria. A donation of $293 has been offered by the District Academic Games Tournament by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for awards. A donation of $572.44 has been offered to Gear Park School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for the purchase of DRA2 diagnostic and assessment and progress monitoring kits. And a donation totaling $30,000 has been offered to the District Core Department by the Dearborn Education Foundation, offering $6,500 in partnership with Mr. and Mrs. William Brum, offering $17,000, the Dearborn Public Schools offering $6,500 to be used for sound equipment upgrades and risers. And I just need to say, Mr. and Mrs. Brum continued to donate, along with paying for full ride scholarships to U of M for students. They just continued to give, and we did honor him this past year, and I'm just so thankful for him and his wife and all they do for the community.
Such wonderful people.
Yes. A donation of $4,300 has been offered to Fortson High School by the Dearborn Education Foundation from funds from Friends of Fortson fundraiser sponsored by Mr. Tom Tofelski to be used for the courtyard project. And thank you for allowing me to read those, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Discussion items, none.
Okay.
Acknowledgement of correspondence.
Trustee Lane?
Well, we saw it in our board briefs, but I think it bears remarking on at least. We had a letter of thanks from a World War II veteran from the class of 1943. Rod Elwan is here, and I don't know whether the author would be willing to share that letter, but it was a great letter. It was really moving, and it encouraged students at the high school, and this was Dearborn High School in this case. He was taken away from his studies by his duty to his country and his family. He came back, and how many years later he got his diploma. And I know from having had a relative also who dropped out of school, that's something that lingers on people's mind. We want to prevent that now, but there are a lot of things that you don't get done when you're young, and it kind of sticks in your craw until you get it done. So that letter was really a really nice letter, and it's a great thing when those things can be done. It's a great satisfaction when they're done. So
thank you for sharing.
Bears remarking.
Thank you. Anybody else? Next item, please.
Board of Education business, board member committee and organization reports.
Trustee Schoolmaster.
Yes, the audit committee met. Dr. Jensen and Mr. John Sikowski were present, along with Plant Moran, who are our auditors. And next week we'll have the financial results from the college presented. And I'd like to congratulate Dr. Jensen and John Sikowski because of the fact that we managed to turn around the train from an $8 million negative variance. We had a $2 million positive variance. We'll get all the numbers next week at the meeting, but it's a tremendous achievement. It's a great achievement for the college. And not only that, we had no negative comments from our auditors, which means that we had a complete and pretty much a perfect audit. And so, you know, once again, I congratulate the college because this is one of the best audits I think that we've ever had.
Very nice. Very
Yep.
nice.
Trustee Shellis.
We had lots of meetings before this meeting. We had a policy committee meeting, and the main purpose of this was 2 students needed a graduation exception. This is something that was reviewed by us, and we concur with it, but this was quite a simplistic case. It's a student who didn't qualify to take the MME based on their student status last year, and now they're ready to graduate before they are eligible to take the MME, and that's one of our graduation requirements, is that they take the MME. So we're waiving their requirement to take the MME. So I hate these because it sounds like we're making an exception for them to graduate, but this is a minor.
Something to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that we should hold a student up from graduation because of no fault of their own that they weren't able to take a test. This was another one of the legislature's great ideas to require students to take a test, not require students to pass a test. So it's the results of the test are inconsequential to the graduation. So the policy committee agreed with these two recommendations, and they'll be brought forward at the next meeting for the full board's approval.
Thank you.
So if you have any questions or specific questions about the cases, Dr. Shankman or Mr. Whiston can fill you in on the details, or you can speak to Roxanne or myself.
Thank you. Mr. Guido?
We also had a building and site meeting prior to our meeting, and the phase one work of the bond issue was completed over the summer, and I wonder if I could ask Jeff to maybe just go over some of the highlights of some of the work. There was a substantial amount of work completed over the summer that I think we should be proud of.
What? You can't even give us a report?
I couldn't even remember half of what he just talked about.
The most important aspect is we've still got $6 million in reserves.
I was going to ask you to come in and sit in on the meeting.
Thank you, Jeff.
I have to bring something up to read it too. So.
There you go.
But yes, this summer we did complete phase one, as Mr. Guido stated. We completed the Edsel Ford concession on Team Room. That was one of the bigger projects this summer. I think the high school was very pleased, and we got a lot of positive feedback. We completed paving at Becker, Howard, Lindbergh, and Macaulay Eunice. We had some digital signs installed at Cotter, Miller, Macaulay Eunice, and we had playground equipment throughout the district. If you've driven around, we have a lot of new playgrounds. We have them at Lindbergh, McDonald, Salina Intermediate, Snow, Laurie, the Dearborn Heights Center. That one is handicap accessible. It's state-of-the-art. It's really nice. A lot of the wheelchairs can have access to all the playground equipment that they've never had before. So I understand the children really like that there. We had flooring done at Becker, Nowlin, Oakman, Snow, Macaulay Eunice, and Fortson. We had locker replacement done at Laurie, Salina, Maples, Howard, the Dearborn Heights Center. We had some bleachers installed at Macaulay Eunice. Roofing, we did about $6 million in roofing this summer. We had roofing done at McDonald, Snow, O.L. Smith, Dearborn High School, Stout Middle School, and Lindbergh. So we did quite a bit of work this summer, a short amount of time, and as Trustee Schoolmaster stated, we have a healthy contingency. We started with $6 million. We're still at $6 million. We're getting ready to break ground with the approval of the board tonight with all the new construction at William Ford, Gear Park, and Henry Ford Elementary. So I say we're on target and we're moving forward.
And so that construction at William Ford, Henry Ford, and Gear Park should be ready for students come next September.
Yes.
The next step is security systems at most of our schools. It'll be done, most of them will be done by the December, January timeframe, except for the schools where it need major office renovations. And so we won't be able to do those until summer, but that's just a handful.
Trustee Chillis?
Is there a reason, I mean, I realize that we have Henry Ford segregated a little bit because of prepping for the construction, but that area, the grass has not been cut there, and it's doesn't look very appealing when you drive past it. I'm just curious why we would cut the grass all around the building but not cut the part that's sectioned off.
I'll have to look into that. I don't know.
I just don't want...
It should have been taken care of.
Or it doesn't appear that it's been taken care of, but...
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if construction starts, it makes it harder, but there's a lot of...
there probably within the next week or two, so there won't be any grass. Yeah.
Well, they have quite a large section sectioned off, so there'll still probably be some grass in there. But I just don't, I mean, it's going to be difficult enough, I mean, with that school in particular, because of where the construction is, that we don't want to make it worse by, making it an eyesore on top of it.
Thank you.
Trustee, do you have a comment on this
I
report?
was just going to say, we should thank the voters of Dearborn for these projects, because it was due to the passage of the millage.
And their generosity.
And it's the generosity of the entire community toward the families and the students that deserves thanks.
Trustee Guido?
That's what I was going to say.
So she stole what you wanted to say then.
Oh, you know what? I just wanted to add one more thing we discussed briefly. There was a window project that we are rebidding.
Right. So we remember that the only project that we didn't get done in the first phase that we said we would would be the Lindbergh windows, but the original bid was probably almost twice as
It
much
was
as what we
twice as much as
expected.
we should have
So
been,
we'll
so
be rebidding that.
We're rebidding that this winter, and it'll be done next summer.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Any other reports? Next item, please.
Board member commentary.
Trustee Lane?
I want to urge people to vote. Before we're going to meet again, we'll have an election. And I've been thinking for a long time how sorry I'll be to see 3 board members leave. We'll have 3 new colleagues, but oh man, I'll start to get teary if I go too far on this. But yeah, I know I can't start that before December. But everybody should get out and vote because there are a lot of important issues on the ballot, and there are a lot of candidates running. There are 11 running for the school board. It's still, although a lot of our powers have been taken away, usurped by the legislature, it's still a very important position. It affects the day-to-day lives of a lot of staff people and thousands of children and their families. So it's very important in that sense. We've had a very good board. I didn't always feel that the board was so great. I've had my doubts about how we were functioning as a board, but
that's been a long time.
Yeah, no, I say
I don't want
that,
to give
I say
people
that
the
mostly in jest, yeah. No, we've balanced our budgets with our superintendents, of course, and our district is a fine district to be proud of. In order for our district to stay in this condition, we need our voters to carefully think about who they vote for. The League of Women Voters has a tape that's replaying candidates forum, and people can get a lot of ideas from the way what they value by watching those, and then there's also written material. So I do want to say before the next election that people need to vote for school board and the other offices, and it's very important. And the millage, of course, $40 million is nothing. I mean, that's essential.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other comments? Thank you, Mary. Next item, please.
Request for information and/or future agenda items.
Got a little list going.
Got a list
Yeah,
going.
I'm
Trustee
busting.
Lane?
I can't let an item go by without a comment, of course. No, we recently got our numbers for our buildings for the fall, and
I'm out of it count.
out of the 90% count day. Anyways, I do notice that we're slipping into our same old problem with Fordson High School, almost up to 2,500. Dearborn High, almost back up to 1,900. Edsel Ford is just fallen below 1,400. So anyways, I did get a question from someone, can I school of choice back to Fordson? And I was saying to him, don't bet money on that, but I just would call everyone's attention to those numbers. I don't know how well that's working at Fordson and at Dearborn. I know the last time I visited Dearborn, it's becoming increasingly difficult. So I'm sure Superintendent Whiston, you'll update us on any needs in that area. But even Bryant is, that we relieved of overcrowding, is back almost up to 800 kids again. So we're blessed with a growth. We're probably one of the only district in the state of Michigan blessed with this, but we may need to keep an eye on our numbers.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Next item, please.
Superintendent's reports, personal.
Wait, I had one more, forgot.
But I already
We're charging
moved on.
extra for this.
Okay, sorry. It's a good question anyways, and this is for Dr. Schenkman. She hasn't had one all night, so I have to toss out one. I noticed that we will be doing, as usual, we're leading everyone in the local community, in the education community. I have to get little Dearborn
feathers coming out.
Yeah. So, we're doing the testing out for world languages, and I just wondered, for the $50 that we will charge to test out-of-district students to test out of languages, is that going to, will that pay for our costs?
Oh, yes, it will pay for our costs.
And do we know what languages we'll be able to do, or are we going to contract that, or?
We have had tests out for a very long time in our district,
Right.
and we have many students who are particularly successful at their home language at Arabic test out. And now that the graduation requirement is a year of a world language, we have a lot of neighbors who maybe haven't done test out, particularly in Arabic, or don't offer Arabic as a world language in their schools. If their students test out with us in Arabic, then they will have met those requirements. So it's a niche that we at Dearborn Public Schools have. Of course, we also have test out in German and French and Spanish, and we've been doing that. We have the tests already developed, and we have a very finely honed system thanks to Dr. Klee. So yes, we will meet and then some our costs.
Great.
And then some.
Excellent. How often is that given, twice a year or
Yes,
just once a year?
Twice a year, and
Okay.
students can test out of two semester-long classes, so a full year of world language. And the world language test is a little more complicated because there's an oral component of it, but we'll be covered.
Amazing. Thank you.
Is there a cost
I
about
have-
$25?
I have a request for information.
I know that that's what we're charging our.
Just a minute, Pam, we'll be right with
We don't
you.
charge our
Okay.
students anything
Okay.
for the
Just so you
test
know.
out because we can't.
Uh-huh.
And our cost depends on the number of students who are testing, and we have volume. So it's less than $25. But we're not planning on having the test with our students. We'll plan on doing it here without our students. We will more than cover with our proctoring costs. We have the exams developed. We'll have to pay for scoring and for the oral portion of it. But the economies of scale of the way we do business, I can't give you a certain amount that we'll make.
It
but
also would
we
make us
will.
kind of a center of excellence if,
Yes.
people are coming here to test out of.
Particularly since we're the specialists with the seal of biliteracy also. So-
Excellent
Amen.
point.
So it's a real service to, really to the metro community.
Absolutely.
Pam, you had a question?
I do. I would like some information. I know we're trying to offer students, particularly high school, options, many options, that the programs that we have. I'd like some information on the International Baccalaureate program. I know a lot, several districts are starting those up and offering those to students also. I don't know what cost is. I don't know what timing is, how many students you need to make the program. So I would just like some information.
And we'll get that for you, Pam. I know I brought the issue up several different times, and we haven't had an interest from the community. We even had an opportunity to send students to another district who was offering IB, and we couldn't get any takers. But it doesn't hurt to constantly look at options. But we have looked at that a couple times over the years and just didn't have the interest. But like I said, we'll look again.
Because our students
Okay,
like
well,
to stay
I
here.
was just curious. I know that Ann Arbor schools, I think, are going to it. I think Northville is going to it. Several others are looking at it. And I just thought that it was something that would benefit our students, that we should look at it.
Sure.
But if there's no interest, then there's no point, I
Well, let's
suppose.
see, though.
Well, and some of those districts are trying to use it as a program to draw students of school of choice in. So
Yeah,
thankfully,
they're
we're not in a
merchandising
position where we
themselves.
need to do that.
Okay, that's all. I just, it sounds like a dynamic program that some
And
students
difficult.
would benefit from it. So,
Thank you, Pam. Next item, please.
thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent reports, personal commentary.
Just three things very quickly. As we went to the one board meeting a month, we said that we were going to have programs that people could watch and would be added on to the end of the board meeting and through the computer and the like. And we have two programs that will be up in the next week. One is the bond update in more detail, and one is an employee ambassador. We have so many options for kids that sometimes those options get lost. And so Dr. Shankman and David put together a program explaining all the options that our students have, and Dr. Shankman has the starring role in the video, and she loves it so much. But it is a good piece of information so that our employees, parents, community can really see what are all the options out there. And so it's celebrating that. And the Oh, the third thing, I couldn't read my own note for a second. The third thing is that you appointed, you took the Howard principal away tonight, so as you know, we have an opening there, and I'm in the process of interviewing, and so I'm hoping the board and the college would allow me to bring a recommendation next Monday, so I don't have to wait a whole nother month, bring to the college board meeting next week a recommendation that we would share publicly, obviously, here in the district as well. So that would be my plan, is to come up with a recommendation, talk to board members, and then bring a recommendation forward at the college board meeting.
Okay.
As long as the president would allow me to do that. Thank you.
He's giving you a thumbs up, so we're good.
All right.
Okay, great,
That's
thank
it.
you. Next item.
Future meeting dates. Monday, October 20th, 2014, HFC meeting, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzara Service and Conference Center in the Roseno Boardroom, Henry Ford Community College. Oh, I messed up again. Monday, October 20th, 2014, closed session following the regular meeting per Section 8A of the Open Meetings Act.
You can read a couple more meetings.
Now you're trying to...
What's that? I'm sorry.
Monday, November 10th?
It's after the Monday meeting, Pam?
11:10, 6 p.m.?
I couldn't hear you.
11:10, 6 p.m.? Is that what she said?
No, on October 20th, after our HFC board meeting.
We have a closed session.
It's a closed session per Section 8A, which is personnel.
It's not on her copy. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not on your copy.
Sorry.
It wasn't.
No, it's not on this one either.
I know, it wasn't on any of them. It was just, because it's a college issue, it just obviously didn't flow through.
It's something we
We
voted
voted
on
on at the last college meeting. Monday, November 10th, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, November 17th, 2014, HFC meeting, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzara Service and Conference Center in the Roseno Boardroom, Henry Ford College. Monday, December 8th, 2014, I can't believe we're already talking about December. P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. And I have two more. Did you write this, Brian?
No, Mr. Mustin and
I was going to say, this is really nice.
Wow. Just because I couldn't read my own writing a second
Well, you
ago?
couldn't read your own writing. How would you expect me to be able to read it?
Wow.
The Cipriano Run, Saturday, October 18th, 9 a.m. Come cheer on elementary and middle school runners, Ford Field, Dearborn. Monday, October 20th, ribbon cutting to celebrate the new location of the Early College Lower Level Learning Resource Center at Henry Ford College.
Great, thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Stop while I'm ahead.
You guys were having too much fun today.
And I really didn't mean it that way. It just came out that way.